Can you hear me if I set you right here? Yes. I thought that I would go live tonight since I haven't been live in a little while. Actually, I'm going to move you guys right over here. And I thought I would read some of my captions. Oh, I think I hear Elizabeth getting home. And, oh, hi, Elle. Yes, I will marry you. Thanks so much for asking. Elle, our 1-year friendship anniversary is coming up so soon. Okay. I thought I would read some of my captions. And these are all ones that will be going up in a new highlight that I am preparing called She's Growing. And if people join, and they ask, like, what's happening? Just tell them. I'm reading to you. Okay. This one, they all have names, but this one is about leaving home. That's what they're all kind of about. What's Elle saying? January 1st, so easy to remember. Okay. Also, have you guys watched Elle do the Mean Girls dance? I watched it today and it is so funny. There's this feeling in the back of your mind that one day you will grow up and leave your family home and try to be your own person out in the world somewhere. And you will know when that happens because it will be unbearably sad. But you don't always realize that things are happening, especially when they're happening in tiny little steps. And then suddenly you will be at the airport and you are your mother's grown-up daughter hugging her before you get on the plane. It will hit you all at once, like you stepped back and took a look at what you had been painting up close, and suddenly you saw what you had created in full, miles and miles of rivers and roads between you and the people who raised you. And maybe you will cry long and hard in the bathroom. Maybe you will realize that you are not made of the stuff that it takes to leave easily, but you are not the kind of person who can stay. And maybe, as she walks back to the car in the rain, your mom will take out her phone and text her grown-up daughter. Leaving is always harder than staying, but more exciting. And you're sitting in the terminal in between the families getting ready for their trips, and this is the hard part. This is the time in your life when you are just one person, a single seat on the plane. You're in between families in more ways than you thought. You knew since you were little that you would have to go, but you didn't realize that you didn't even realize that you had left until you were already long gone. So you will cry a bit in the bathroom because it hurts, this realization that the future you planned for yourself has been happening and you're already living in it. It feels like you didn't get a chance to say goodbye. And it is hard, so hard, and then a little bit exciting. I like that one. I think I wrote it a year ago when I was coming back from Christmas break, coming back from visiting my family. Okay, next one. There are times when it feels so outrageously painful to grow up. You assume it might ache. You'll feel a strain every once in a while as your whole world stretches. But oh, sometimes it hurts with such clarity. You think letting go will bring a lightness. Instead, it is the heaviest burden, leaving things behind. Sometimes the strict linear organization of this life infuriates me. How unkind that we must move on constantly from the only things we have ever known in favor of something unknown. How do we bear it? Memories are more solid than dreams and hopes. They hold more weight. No wonder I love the past. It's all I've ever experienced. Everything else is still just a thought. There is more on the way. It will be better. It will be worse. But it will never again be like it was. What a thing to have to live with, the knowledge of something like that. That one's a little less hopeful. Oh, you guys are so nice. Okay, this one is about my dad. I think the things I write about my dad are some of my favorite things. They always make me emotional. Okay. I am the spitting image of my mother. Warm brown hair, not anymore, and a straight nose and eyes that crinkle when we smile. I have her face and her voice and her freckles dotting my shoulders. But I have my father's heart. I can tell because it breaks a little every day. The weight of it pulls me towards what's right. It's maddening, and it's also probably the best thing about me. And before it was mine, it was his. I have my father's heart, and it is full of worries. My mom is carefree, but my dad worries after my worries. One day he gave me a sticky note and told me to write this down. Nothing ever turns out as badly as I think it will. He kept that sticky note on his bedside table for years, and when I got scared again, he would show me the truth, written out in my own hand. I have my mother's mouth, but my father's words. I talked back to the teachers in school, but I never got in trouble because I have his charm. My mom sees it in me. She used to tell me a story of a date they had planned soon after they moved into our house. As they walked out to the car, he saw the neighbors struggling with boxes. He ended up spending all day helping the neighbors move in. Mom rolls her eyes when she told it. She shook her head but smiled. I can't let him walk past anyone who needs help. When I asked my dad if he missed their date, he nodded and then fell silent. Finally, he said, "But, hopefully that's what she loves about me." Having my father's heart is difficult. I have only half his goodness and all of his empathy. When I left for Los Angeles, I knew he didn't want me to go. I knew all his reasons and fears because they were mine too, but I also knew that he understood. I had to go. When he was 22, he packed up all his things and drove across the country in search of his life. It was the harder choice, the better one, so he had to make it. That's the kind of man he is. And when I packed up my car and left him standing in the drive, it was so hard. It was the hardest choice to make. That's why I had to do it. And even though I know it must have hurt to watch me go, I hope he recognized his own heart in it. I hope it's something he loves about me. Okay. This one is another one. As you can see, the theme is growing. So this one's another one kind of about what it feels like to go back home. It doesn't feel like I live here anymore. I'm just passing through. I guess I haven't in a while, but coming back here always feels like stepping into what is true. My room felt like my real room, more than the one I shared with Abby. My street felt like the real street. It was a place of permanence, home. But now there's a new place, and it isn't going anywhere. There's changing my driver's license to California and a job waiting. I don't feel like a kid anymore. Kirby and Chloe and I are always together, always two of us waiting on the third. I know that if I lived here, it wouldn't be like that. I would have responsibilities and limited time, but still, a friend for every moment is so tempting. Lives that revolve around each other. Because a strong friendship is the only thing more precious to me than a dream. I have to trick myself into looking the other way when I leave. The items in my room sit like artifacts, collecting dust, an exhibit of what it was like to be me 5 years ago. It's comforting to walk among them, to curl up under the blanket I used when I was a child, to fall asleep with memories pressing in on all sides. But it also reminds me how much I've changed shape since then. Every boy I've ever loved has seen this room. I started my first journal here, had my first sleepover, woke up on Christmas mornings and recovered from surgeries and did my homework. I've painted the walls and decorated the shelves, laughed the hardest here. It is the place I have spent the most time in all the places on this earth. And still, as I lay here about to fall asleep, it feels gone from me. But it's all still here, the Pokemon blanket and the shell lamp and the wicker dresser. And then it comes to me so simply. What is missing is me. If you can't tell, I'm prepping to go home soon. Oh wow, so many comments. I leave on Friday and I'm very excited. Hi everybody, y'all are so sweet. Okay, this one is about, one of your quotes is going to be my first tattoo one day. Oh my gosh, that would be crazy. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for letting me write for you and share it with you and then do stuff like this and read it to you. That's crazy. That would have just killed me if little Shannon in her bedroom with her Pokemon blanket writing stuff ever thought that people would log on and watch me read it. It's the best. Thank you guys. Okay. This one is about moving to LA. I moved to LA all alone. My mother leaves me in an empty apartment with 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom and 1 me. The first night I have a lamp and a pile of clothes that I sleep on. I am on my own. I have friends, but they don't come with me. They go to Georgia, they stay in Austin, they move out here before or after me. There are people I know, but they all have lives and I don't know how to fit. Isaac moves into my apartment. He keeps me company as I wait for Elizabeth. We watch scary movies and I fit his sheets onto the air mattress he sleeps on, and it's good to have a friend. Isaac moves out, but Elizabeth moves in. We build furniture and never buy a table. We eat on the couch, and I am lonely, still lonely, but I'm lonely with a friend. I miss the feeling of school, of waking up every morning knowing exactly who to sit by. I miss being surrounded. I wait for Elizabeth to get home. I go to brunch with Nathan. He lives farther, but he starts to spend the weekends. We go to movies together, go to Disney together, sit on the floor and eat dinner and talk about everything together. Now there are 3 of us. We frame a picture of Nathan as a joke, but it stays up. Lizzie invites me to a party and Megan is there. There is a tingle at the back of my neck, the kind I get when I meet someone important. I tell her we will be best friends, and it doesn't faze her. This is how I know. Megan introduces me. She puts me in the group chat. I meet her friends, her boyfriend, her roommate Hannah. Hannah goes out for a food run, and I ask her to bring me some candy. What kind, she asks. Nerds Rope. But they don't have any, and it's okay. It's okay because next week there are more parties. There are movies I'm invited to, and Halloween costumes already being talked about. There's Nathan and Elizabeth to eat on the floor with Lizzie. Nathan and Elizabeth to eat on the floor with, and Lizzie to invite me, and people to laugh with, and I have been found when I didn't think anyone was looking. And then there's Megan's house last night where we watch a scary movie because I like them, and they don't care if I'm new or I'm needy. I fit. And before I can doubt it, I check the cabinet to find a box of Nerds Ropes waiting. That one always makes me really happy because how do you not bawl when you read your writings? Sometimes I do. I cry every time I write. That one makes me really happy. Hannah bought me those Nerds Ropes. Like, she ordered like a big thing of them from Amazon, and they still have them. She always orders more and stocks them up in the cabinet. And it's like such a small thing, but I've talked about it before, but I was just so lonely when I first got out here. And I feel like I kind of came into this friend group all at once, and I made all these friends at once, and I went from like being so lonely to like having this whole world open up to me, and everyone being so gracious and kind and loving, and it just blew my mind. I wanted to write about it all the time. Okay, let's see. This one I wrote 2 4th of Julys ago. Holidays are my favorite thing in the entire world, but they are also difficult. I think it's because they provide such a clear snapshot into what you were doing 1 and 2 and 3 years ago. On any given day, I might not think about how great my life was exactly a year ago, but on the 4th of July, I will. 1 year ago, on the 4th of July, I woke up in my room with Abby. We dressed in bright colors, and Kelly painted stars onto our cheeks. We drove out to the Greenbelt and hiked to the river, sliding around in our sandals along the way. The 3 of us swam up the river together, bracing ourselves against the current. At the end, Alyssa was waiting with watermelon. It was one of my last days being their roommate. We stopped to get French fries on the way home. I showered, threw my hair in a bun, and painted another star on my cheek. I said goodbye to my roommates, and it was sad to leave, but I had someone waiting for me. I drove to the Como River, one of my very favorites, just as it was starting to get dark. People were barbecuing and the bugs were out. My mom met me with a tube and Kirby and Chloe in tow, and we sank deep into the river even though it was chilly. That night we drove around looking for fireworks, dancing hard to Martina McBride on the pavement while they popped overhead. I remember thinking I could never have a better day. I live next to a river in California, but it's more of a moat. Certainly nothing for me to swim in. And Abby is coming to California, and my mom, and Kirby and Chloe, but not today, and not forever. I am now a person to visit instead of a person who's there. And it's hard sometimes, and it's also not, because Megan is here, and so is Lizzie, and all my friends are spread out, but I still have friends. And there's a pool party, and a movie to watch with Elizabeth, and a whole life I should be proud that I have built out here in less than a year. But sometimes it feels like I'm fighting my way upstream here, and I miss the easy way of Texas, cicadas and old friends and a star on my cheek, and that feeling of the current pulling me along. Oh, and the first comment here, it's Megan, and she says, I am here, and I will paint stars on you if you want. And then that 4th of July ended up being one of my favorite days in LA. So, yeah. That's, like, beautiful. I was so worried about it. I've always had really good 4th of Julys ever since I got older. Let's see. I was really mad at everything and everyone for a while, but reading your advice story made me start to try to think positively. My demons are still there, but a little less powerful. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Bridget. That's beautiful. Please do ASMR. Your voice is so nice. Thank you. I watch a lot of ASMR. Okay. Let's see. What's next? This one I wrote when I was having a hard time. I sometimes get to this place where I feel like I'm a difficult person or like a person who requires a lot of effort, which I usually feel kind of okay about. Oh, wait, sorry. Somebody just commented that they were friends with Hannah in Durban. Oh, that's so funny. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, I usually feel okay about being a person who like requires effort because I feel like I give out a lot of effort and I'm very like good to my friends and I try really hard to be a good friend, but sometimes I just wish I was like less high maintenance, I guess, emotionally high maintenance. And due to like some stuff that I went through with a friend group a few years ago, I had a lot of doubts about myself and if I was a worthwhile person. So I wrote this. This is one of the things that I wrote like when I was in the bad place, and then I hung on to it because I knew that I didn't want to post it when I like was there and I couldn't shine a light on like how it would be okay in the end, you know? Sometimes when you're writing it, it's not okay. It's just not the end yet, so you have to wait till you get to the end. So I waited on this for a long time, and then I ended up sending it to Dodie a long time after I wrote it, and she was like, no, that's good, you should post it. So I did. Anyway, that's the backstory. Here we go. Not everyone will want to be your friend. This is very hard for me because I want to be everyone's friend. For good reasons and for selfish reasons too. I have to be liked by people. All people. Please no one hate me because I am not equipped to deal with it. This is not a great way to be. Validation shouldn't come from the opinions of others, and I know that, but how can it not hurt when you put yourself out there constantly and you aren't met halfway? I am building bridges not everyone wants to walk across. I'm trying to learn how to make that okay. Not everyone wants to be my friend. I sometimes think I am an acquired taste, and ultimately it's alright because I have the Durbans and the Kristens and the Chloes who have known me for 1,000 years and still like me, and I count them up and hold them close and make their opinions so important. But I do the same with the people I've lost. I make them just as important. I'm not a good forgetter. I'm great at remembering, but is it a bad way to be? Sometimes I ask my friends if I'm a good person, if I'm ever right, or if they pity me, if they think the way I am is a good way to be. And they've seen it before, and they know I'm rooted in it, and they say with great affection, "You're Shannon." But that doesn't answer the question. Okay, this one I wrote last year at the start of the new year. I thought I was going to lose my job, and I was just like very sad and very scared for the future, and it's kind of funny, after the post I wrote about how much I needed people, I leaned so heavily on my friends, and they just full force took the weight of what I was going through and helped me through it. It was amazing. Okay. Lately, I've been failing a bit more than I'm comfortable with. Lately, I've lost a little bit of the blind optimism that always drove me to run headfirst into my dreams and worry about the rest later. I suffered several defeats. I went away to lick my wounds. I went away to Megan's. I curled up on their beanbag and let them feed me snacks and listen to me whine. I forced them to tell me the same platitudes over and over while I pouted until Ryan would make me laugh instead. "What can I get you?" he'd ask, always a gracious host, already handing me special-made popcorn and a nerd's rope from Hannah. "A compliment!" I'd shout, and then I'd smile and smile through a rain of praise and cry on the car ride home. I drove the same road every night, and still I was so lost. The next day, I'd send the sheepish text, "Who's home?" drive over and do it all again. Everyone gets their strength back in different ways. I built mine little by little, fed by a steady diet of popcorn and praise. I'd stare at Hannah like a lost puppy while she played video games. "What?" she'd ask, and I'd groan and say nothing like a petulant child. I wanted all the attention in the world, right up until I had to find something to do with it. And for all my floating and lurking and moping, I was never turned away. No leading text unanswered, even on the days I was waiting on their doorstep for somebody to get home. The other night when Logan was over, I confessed to feeling frightened. I confessed to making myself as burdensome as possible to prove they wouldn't leave me. And I told him how scared I was to go back out into the world and try again because I couldn't take another failure. Not just yet. It's different with you, I said. You're such a safe space. He nodded, understanding but honest. Well, sooner or later you're going to have to learn how to operate in a dangerous space. I know I do. I know it. But I could use a little longer here with you. A little more time to rebuild that blind optimism. Just a little longer being safe before I try again to be brave. And I did try again. And it was good. I do have glorious friends. Yeah, they are the best. I'm very lucky. I have another highlight coming that I'm the most excited about, but I haven't posted it yet because it is the longest, and it's called the Friendship Series, and that one's my favorite. Okay, this one is about how I write so nostalgically about like my old house and my old college dorm rooms and New Zealand and everything, but I know that one day I'm going to look back on this apartment here and it's just going to break my heart because I'm going to miss it so bad. So I'm trying to appreciate that while I'm here, and I guess have some of that abundant nostalgia for the present. One day I will miss the steps up to this apartment. I'll miss the staircase that greets me as soon as I open the door, and the bamboo that sways and creaks in the garden, and my pink roller skates sitting on the stoop. I'll miss seeing the mail stacked at the top of the stairs, and the way the windows all open up into the trees like I'm living in a canopy. I'll miss how late I stay up and the luxury of writing into the hours after midnight. I'll miss the times I woke up before the sun to get to work and walking past the big crooked tree to get to my car. And I know I'll miss Elizabeth, checking for the light on that means she's still awake. One day I will hear the song from the playlist or see the map like the one that hangs on my wall or smell those purple flowers that grow on the trellis in February, and it will seize my heart, the pain of time moving on, the pain of leaving things behind. Being 24 is hard, and I hope my memories give credit to that, but I hope I remember the distinctness of it. I hope I remember the joy in the details of my life. And I hope I miss it, but not too much. I hope I am remembering it from someplace even better. Yeah, I tend to romanticize the past, so I try really hard to also romanticize the present to even the playing field a little bit. Alright, this one is a more recent one, and it is the one that I wrote about being 24 right before I turned 25. So this is how it feels to be 24 for just a moment longer. The back seat of my own car, my head resting on Nathan's backpack and my feet on the window pressing against the view. Cleopatra is playing and the sun is setting and I want my mom around all the time. This is how it feels. This is what it's like. I am a grown-up. I grew up. And I want my mommy, and I want to be as far away from home as possible, and I want to prove that I'm bigger than the things I came from, and I want my bed in my blue room, the one where I grew up. With Nathan in the passenger seat and my mom behind the wheel, I have to keep reminding myself that we are headed home to California, to my little blue house there, with a pink room, and not the big brown house in Texas. Nathan will drive 35 minutes across town instead of 5 minutes down the road. My mom will get on a long flight in the morning. And I will still be here, existing, going to work and buying my groceries and waiting patiently for Elizabeth to get home. It is strange to be 24 and nobody's responsibility. I am my own. I look after me. So I take myself roller skating and I dance with just my arms during the good songs. There is a dent in my car from the weekend. My mom pulled out of a parking space and into a collision. Everyone was okay, but she looked at me like she was so sorry, and I was the mom and she was the kid. This is my car, I thought. It belongs to me. I wanted to cry in her arms for all the times I still worry that if I stay up too late I'll get in trouble. I am an adult. I am 24 years old for 2 more months. I have Megan to call if things get really bad, and Lizzie across the street, and Elizabeth in the room next to mine. I have a disease that I am always trying to fix, and 2 shots I put directly into my legs every month. It is up to me to get the air bubbles out. I have 2 pink roller skates and a car with a dent and a job that's better than any story I told myself about my life when I was young. And I still want more. I guess that's just being 24. Okay, this one is about my decision to leave Texas and come to California to chase my dream. I love when you guys respond with like the line from the story that hit you hard. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. With Crohn's. Whoa. Well, it's going to be okay. This is the good part. You got your diagnosis, and now you're going to get medicine, and things are about to get so much better. Okay. Here we go. Chasing my dream. Where I'm from, the ground never rose up to meet the sky. Not the way it does here in California, all valleys and hills and peaks. Back home, we had the horizon and the sea stretching in long, flat lines across our vision, and the sky carried on, uninterrupted. Back home, I had a life laid out before me, long and predictable, where the trees grew tall and piney and rivers would swell during hurricane season. It was a life I could see the end of in any direction I looked. My parents would have been nearby, I'd eat dinner with them sometimes, and I'd probably become a teacher, probably be very happy. But I chose peaks and valleys. There's nothing wrong with the life I left, but still, I left it. And to this day, I cannot say why I did it. I tried to stray from this life I lead once or twice, tried to imagine myself living my days on flattened ground, but the second I had the chance, I packed up my car and drove away. The ground never rose up, but I did. Y'all are sweet. Okay. This one is very recent. I wrote it about being 25. Oh, hi, Shannon and my teacup. Glad you're here. Okay. Y'all are so sweet. The last line always seems to be the best. Wow. That's my trick. My biggest inspiration is Ray Bradbury, and in all of his short stories, he saves like the zinger for the end. And I've noticed that if I'm reading something and you end on a strong note, even if the rest of it wasn't that great, you're still like, huh, whoa, that was really good. So that is like my full trick. I always try to save the best like little piece for last. I want people to walk away and be like, whoa. What's your favorite story you've written so far? Ooh. My favorite thing I ever wrote was the piece about Durbin when his mom passed away, the Two Hearts piece. But my favorite line I've ever written was, and I built my heart like an estuary, a brackish place, a place for more than one feeling to exist. Okay. Last story for now. 25 is a playground and no parents and sleepovers every night. It's all the dreams you had about being a grown-up when you were little, and none of them making you feel the way you thought they would. And instead of the lunchroom, it's the whole world and everything scary, but you always know who you'll sit with. You and your friends and your games of make-believe, and everyone living and dying by a dream that can't sustain them. We have fun, but it's not enough. These are the good old days, and we don't know it yet. Only sometimes you know it. Just you in the car in the back seat with Elizabeth driving and Nathan singing along to the song on the radio. You feel the specific ache you'll get in 4 years when you're on the edge of 30 and the song comes on in a grocery store. You'll lean against your cart and think of them and maybe laugh a little and just ache and ache with the nostalgia of it all. Might as well feel it now while you're still in the car. 25 is young and messy, and you're feeling every second of it, even when you're sleeping. There were 5 years packed into the first month, everything happening too slowly but too quickly, and sleepovers every night. You come home to your best friend curled in her favorite hoodie on the couch. This is your person. You used to come home to a brother and a nanny, and then every night at 6 o'clock your parents, but now Elizabeth is your person. Elizabeth and Nathan on the weekends. You are always fully awake. You have your collection of favorite restaurants and the shows you put on after the night out and the shows you play before. You have the dance you learned with Nathan and the one you learned with Megan, and your feet up next to the Christmas tree while you FaceTime Chloe. This is a collection of moments, and it's making up your life, great and terrible, where it hurts, but maybe in the good way. 25 hits with all the force in the universe. You have to keep running just to stay on your feet. guys for listening. Oh, you're so sweet. You can feel the raw emotion whether you're happy and sad in your voice. Yeah. When are you going to write a book? I don't know, it's a great question. Whenever I can think of a good story, I guess. I love the contrast of being an adult but still living in a world of make-believe and magic. That's me. I need to plug my phone in. Ooh, ooh, ooh. There we go. We love you. Eat your veggies. Oh, you guys are talking to each other. Yes, make a group chat. That's so cute. Thanks for the good cry. You're very welcome. Thanks for helping me get through studying. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for the bedtime stories. Y'all are so cute. I love the story about Chloe, maybe because it's my name, because I relate so much to you in it. Oh, is that the one where we're driving in the desert? And I'm like, why do you hate me? I think a lot of people like that one because they relate to it, which is sad, but I guess a true feeling. Are you an Enneagram 2 or 4 by chance? Yes, I'm a 2, and then my next closest score was a 4. Are you ready for 2019 or scared? I'm ready. I'm so ready. I move a ton, and your nostalgic posts really hit home for me. I'm glad. Y'all are so sweet. I'm in so much pain, but you're helping. Thanks for helping me get through hospital visits. I hope you guys are okay. I know that life. I was there last night, not at the hospital, but in a lot of pain. And I hope it gets better. That's awful. What are your holiday plans? I'm going home. I'm going home on Friday. I'm so excited. I haven't been home in a year. It's the longest I've been away from home. It's so bizarre. Even when I was reading all those posts about my old room, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to see my room this week. Whoa. I love the story about Megan, too, because I can relate. I don't know which one about Megan. I've written so many. I think my favorite story I've written about Megan is the one where she gives me the necklace on my birthday that says my name. And she's like, your name is really special to me. I still get really emotional when I think about it. It's just such a beautiful sentiment. She's such a good friend. This is my first time listening, and it means more than I thought was possible. This is incredible. Oh, Leah, I'm so glad you're here. Any New Year's resolutions? I haven't even thought of that. Gosh, it's just making me think of my resolution from last year. It's probably the same thing because it didn't come true. I'm trying to get an agent and manager. For you, is nostalgia a negative or positive feeling? I would say it's a bittersweet feeling. So I guess both, or it hovers in between the two. But I normally like to feel it. One of my favorites is the one about you healing bit by bit by going to your friends. Oh, it sounds like so many things I write. I can't place it. Y'all are so sweet. I cannot wait to add your friendship highlight posts to my Shannon's Wise Words collection. You're so sweet. You should do a podcast. I've always wanted to do a podcast. Any advice for writers? Write every day, even if it's one sentence. How many girls do you know named Megan? That's my name. Well, my Megan is named Megan, but I also know a few Megans. You retweeted my picture earlier, the one with the streets quote on the wall, and it literally made my year. I cried so much. Are you kidding me? You cried so much. That is beautiful. I sent it to everyone I know. I have it saved on my phone. I was so touched, and it's so beautiful. I want that on my wall. I love the piece where you talk about your dreams growing if you remember to water them. Oh, my garden. I killed all those plants, so it makes me a little sad when I go back and reuse them. Let's see. Do you have any advice for wanting to move to another country? Ooh. Oh. Anticipate the weather. I was so unprepared. Have you taken the MBTI? Is that Myers-Briggs? If so, yes. Any advice for an aspiring author? I don't know where to start. Honestly, me either. I don't know where to start. So I wish I had friends like yours, friends who are so caring and open. How do you find them? The answer is lame, but it's by being a good friend. I know, if you're like caring and open, a lot of times people will pour that back into you. However, I have very much been in situations where I was caring and open and I did not receive love and response, and that is very hard. So it's like a combination of you being a good friend and also you just being lucky and like sending that out to good people who send it back. I want to get "I am a force of nature, the world will wait for me" tattooed on me. I would die. Especially, that one's crazy because it's like everybody's favorite quote is "the world will wait for me," and like, not the favorite quote ever, but their favorite thing that I've written, which is so crazy to me because I wrote it in like 10 minutes in my car right outside of Megan's house. I was like about to go over when I was sick, and like, I don't know, that is just, if anyone ever got a tattoo of something I wrote, that would be crazy. Oh, y'all are sweet. Was English your favorite subject in school? Drama was my favorite subject in school. Can you do this more often and maybe a bit earlier? I should. I'm sorry. I'll try to switch up my my times. Have you watched Anne with an E? I feel like it's exactly your type of show. No, but a lot of people tell me that she reminds them. I remind them of her, or she reminds them of me. I need to watch it. I'm looking for something new to start right now. Will there be any more episodes of Like and Subscribe? Yes, we are chugging along. I know we're like very late, but there will be more episodes soon. The next episode, I believe, is like fully filmed and it's just in post. Toothless Baby Shan is my fave. That's a pretty good one. My origin story. You give me better advice than my actual guidance counselor. Thank you, Elsa. That's funny because I wanted to be a high school counselor before I decided to move out to LA. I was studying psychology to be a high school counselor. Like, I wanted to be like Miss, I forget her name, Miss Emma from Glee or whatever. What's your personality type? I don't know in what capacity. My Myers-Briggs is an ENFJ, which I think is the teacher or the giver, and then my Enneagram is a 2, which is like the one who needs to be needed. Surprise. What are 3 things that can always make you smile and 3 things that can always make you cry? Whoa. 3 things that can make me smile. Videos of people falling, compliments, and Disneyland. 3 things that can always make me cry is like writing something that really means a lot to me, when somebody I know is mad at me, or Grey's Anatomy. My favorite thing you've written is, I couldn't tell you how it felt to see a party through a Snapchat story rather than an invitation, how I tried my hardest to ignore it and watch a movie instead. Yeah. Hard times. It gets better though. Please save this live stream. Maybe. It makes me a little nervous to save them. If I decide right now to save it, then I'll get nervous and like trip up my words. You know what I mean? Advice for being more open and allowing others to be a shoulder to lean on. Just ask for help. Just do it. And you'll feel less burdensome if you provide that for other people as well. I'm literally a sophomore and already know I want one of your quotes as my senior quote. What quote? What quote? I have one quote that goes around and people usually use it for senior quotes. It's happened like a few times and it is so exciting. It's the one that's like, And if you must let go of anything, let it be. If you must let go of anything, let it be gently, let it be with love. That's not it exactly, I can't remember it. Let it be kindly, let it be with love. Oops, I don't know. Have you ever learned a different language? No, I studied French for very many years in school and never learned it. Do you think you're going to stay in LA for a long time? I do. Do you sing like Dodie? If I sang like Dodie, I would be much more successful than I am right now. Do you struggle with mental illness? Yes, I have anxiety. I go to therapy twice a week for it for the past few years. And yeah, it's tough. Tough stuff. What's your favorite hair color that you've had? Definitely red. I'm not sick of it yet, and I feel like it's the most me. I actually just got my roots done today, which is why my hair looks so nice, because I did not do it myself. How do you maintain such a close friendship with Dodie when you're an ocean apart? She visits a lot, which helps, and we text each other all the time. I probably text her more than I text anybody. And you know how sometimes you kind of have to have that friend that you want to text anyway? So in a way, it helps. I feel like I go to her with my emotional stuff more than other people, simply because she's the one who's not here, and she already knows everybody because she comes here all the time, so I can just text her under the table if something's happening and be like, well, this hurt my feelings, but I don't want to be dramatic. And then she'll be like, oh, you're great. And I'll be like, yeah, thank you. And then go back to the party and be normal. Y'all are sweet. Everybody planning a group chat, so cute. I'm using the Dad Waffles and SAT score quote from my senior quote. Oh, and it's so sweet. Your favorite book? Ray Bradbury's The Illustrated Man. It's the best book ever. Taught me everything I know. I think my favorite quote was something along the lines of, you thought leaving was hard, but you haven't tried coming back. Oh, that's a recent one. Thank you. Favorite movies? Happy Feet, Life of Pi, Castaway. I like movies about the sea. Favorite episode of Avatar? Episode 202, Cave of Two Lovers. Best episode. Also 114, The Fortune Teller. Gosh, so many great questions. Y'all are all so nice. I'm hearing Elizabeth get home, so I'm gonna go say hi to her. But thank you for listening to me read. Bye!